Today we're going to have a little go at drawing one of the houses from the time of the Great Fire of London. You can see they look very different to the houses we have today. They were made of wood. The roofs would be thatched or maybe with pitch. They're very odd shaped. They were very close together. That's why the fire spread quickly from house to house. I'm just going to choose one of the houses to do today. But you could maybe make a few drawings and make them like this has been made into a street and show maybe add flames from the fire spreading from house to house. You could use a ruler, but to be fair, the houses were quite old and rickety. Not exactly as straight as the houses we have today. So I may be having a little go at this house here. So I'm going to think about my paper and the shape of the house, and I'm going to sketch it out roughly where I'm going to go with my fingers first, just to make sure I know where I could finish and start. And like we always say in school, maybe think about the outline first, the shape of that outline. It doesn't have to be identical to this, just the right side of the image. So I'm going to start with my sketching pencils. I've got a 4B for shading and a 2B. If you've just got a normal pencil at home, just think about how you're applying your pencil. Darker, if you want it darker, press on harder. And like, I'm going to go with my outline. I'm going to do it invisible first, just to make sure I'm going in the right direction. I might need to rub it out. And if I need to rub it out, if I've pressed too hard, it won't work. I'm just doing some lines around the edge here, bringing it up to the top. I'm going to put a little dot at the top here, just to have a rough idea of where my roof's going to go. A sort of triangle shape. Like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about it being too straight, because the houses weren't very straight. And it's very difficult to draw chimneys and not to go off at an angle. You always want to sort of go up this way, but you've got to try and think it's a straight line. So coming up the page straight, like this. So I've got a general outline now. I can start adding some details. So I'm looking at this house, and it's sort of got quite a few levels. We've got a bottom level with the door and a window, a middle level with 3 windows, and then an upper level like in the attic almost. So looking at the attic part, I could maybe make this top part into a triangle and sketch along here. Maybe this middle section would sort of come down here. So once again, still using that invisible pencil in case I want to change my mind. And then this bigger section at the bottom. So we've got a really big wooden door just off centre. Still again, not worrying too much about, you could use a ruler if you like, but I think it looks a little bit more authentic if it's a little bit wobbly, made from wood. And a little window at the side, sort of the same height at the top, coming down. And then in the middle section, we've got 3 windows roughly the same size, so kind of touch the top part of here. So I could maybe think about where the middle section is, do the middle window, just sketching it again with that sort of invisible pencil, and then roughly add another one to the side, and the same on the other side. And then moving up to the top, into the attic part of the house, we've got 2 little windows there. So thinking again, maybe from the centre point down, coming from the centre point is where the middle of the window would be. Working out to this side for one, and out to this side for the other. So not very straight, a little bit wonky, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. I can always blame the Great Fire of London architects and builders at the time and say they didn't do a very good job. Right, so I think I've got pretty much my outline, some of the details in. I can start to work in a little bit more detail now. So I'm looking, I might start at the bottom and go around this door. It's got a wooden frame around, so now I can press on a little bit more. There's a bit of a door handle here, isn't there? And the frame doubles up. So I'm just going to go around that same block, follow that line around, bring it down. It looks like it's got some wooden slats on, so I'm going to just remember to stop when we get to my handle, take my pencil off and move up. And put some wooden panels on the door. Like this. Okay. With my 4B now, I can shade this a little bit darker. If you haven't got shading pencils, just use the same pencil you were using and just press a little bit harder. Like this. Okay. I have got a 4B, so I'll use that to shade around. And to make my wooden slats look a little bit more interesting, I could maybe put a bit of darker shading on here. Just a little flex to make it look more like wood. Bit of shading. Remember, shading's just looking where the dark areas are. It's not really colouring, is it? Just making the dark bits, looking where the light and shade is. I'm making this little bit look a bit more wooden. Like this. I'm sure yours will be a lot better than this. You can take your time. And maybe moving on to the window at the side. Same again, I think I would put maybe a little darker frame around the edge. Like this. Oops. And you'll notice that the glass in there has got a little pattern in it, and it's quite tricky. It's sort of a diagonal. So what I would do is I would start from this side and think about going from the side to the top and just draw some faint lines across, and you've got to try and keep them going in lines straight like this. So going across on the diagonal, be too straight, and then tricky, you've gone this way. So now you've got to go the opposite way. So you've just gone this way. Oh, I'm going to go the other way now. Like this. Okay. To make it look a bit shadowy, I'll just give it a bit of a rub with my finger like this, look. And that would be the same on these windows at the top. Okay, so maybe put a bit of a frame on them now. This, and then that's diagonal crisscross again on them, look. And a little bit of a smudge to make them look like the light shining on this side. This side's a little bit darker. When you've finished the picture of your house, you could maybe then take some nice hot coloured pencil crayons and maybe put some flames coming out. That would look really exciting, wouldn't it? Let's have a little look at this chimney then. So I'm looking at the chimney, so I can make that. It looks a little bit as though the house is more shadowy on this side, so I'm going to go a little bit darker on this side. Coming a little bit lighter here. The same with the chimney pot at the top. Like this. Some light and shade. There's some smoke coming out of the top, couldn't we? There we go. And then you will notice then we've got some pitch. It looks like pitch on the top of this one, on this roof. It just looks like just making it a little bit darker, coming out like this, look. Little dashes coming down. It looks like there's a little frame going around here, doesn't it? So I'm just going to put on a bit of a frame, following that line that you've already got. And maybe shade that, not too dark, just a little bit lighter. And now I'm happy with the shape of my house. I've noticed that the top of this house is actually, when I look closely, is stuck out a little bit wider. So I can now maybe make this a little bit darker and make my building come in like this. Now, the old houses were made of wood and thatch, and you can see the wooden framework, it's quite tricky. So I'm going to have a little look at this top one. It looks like there's a beam that comes right down and goes through the middle. So I've got to be careful. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to do an invisible line first, and I'm going to make it come from the top down the middle, but I've got to remember to take my pencil off when I hit the window. So I'll be happy with that one there. And then there's one that goes either side of the window, comes down here, like this. And then a little one at the side. And once I'm happy with those, I can make those a little bit darker and fatter. There's nothing in this section here, is there? So we come down to the next bit. There's a big wooden beam along here. So we can once again make that a little bit darker. Oopsie daisy. I'm going to make out that that bit of wood was meant to be like that. It's obviously very poorly cut by the joiner, I'd say. And the same here, look, so we've got a big beam coming down the middle. So invisible pencil again. Another one coming down here, down the side of the door. Window. Like this. Once I'm happy with those, I can make them fatter and darker. And there's a line that goes along the top, like this. And then we've got these funny beams that join up like a zigzag, don't they? They go down and up, down and up. So I'm going to do that just with the invisible pencil first, just in case I make a mistake. Not too hard. Down there and up to there, and maybe down there and up to there. And then if I'm happy with that, I can make those a little bit darker. And there we go. So post your pictures on Dojo. Let's see what you get. I'm sure they'll be fantastic.